Trevor, it is my absolute pleasure to host you for us to open today's Disruption Forum following Radek's speech with this Bloomberg or CNBC style fireside chat. So, most of you in the audience might not know this, but Trevor and I, we've spent around 5 minutes speaking before this. But the goal of this panel is also to show you that you can become absolute friends over common topics such as digital, tech, retail, and AI. And actually, unlike most of the panels that we will be having today, today's panel will be touching on the in-store aspect, in which Trevor is an absolute expert. But Trevor, if I just told the audience that you are the head of this or that at the other company, I don't think that it would do you justice. I know that you have prepared a much broader and much more interesting intro that only ends with your current position. So please introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. Hi, I'm Trevor Sumner. I've spent the last 25 years in emerging tech. So I graduated from university in 1998, which was like the height of the first internet boom. So I got caught an IPO early on. I did wireless internet in 2000 before the iPhone. I did internet TV in 2005, and I've started a couple businesses. One, a local social media marketing platform focused on brick and mortar to drive online to in-store that I ended up selling to the Blackstone Group. And then most recently, a company called Perch, which is computer vision at retail, that I ended up selling to a company called Raydiant. That's where I work right now as I head up their AI and innovation. But I think, Filip, you were more excited about my non-career bona fides, about being a world traveler and scuba diving in every continent, including Antarctica and those type of things. So native New Yorker, it's the Statue of Liberty right there. And just a lover of high energy, high change type environments.
You couldn't find yourself in a better place than this today. I wanted to say tonight because it's dark over here, but your time zone says sunlight. So let's dive into Raydiant. Give us a little bit about Raydiant, because I think by now everybody trusts your acumen in tech. So let's find out more about Raydiant and then jump into the industry.
Yeah, so Raydiant is a company that focuses on digital experiences in store. That's everything from what I would call kind of vanilla digital signage powered by a very powerful content management system, but also, hooking into your point of sale so that you can have sales intelligence about what the prices and coupons and loyalty of different items should be. It's about people intelligence. We have front-facing cameras that can say, hey, this is a 47-year-old male. Is he looking? Is he not looking? Is he smiling? And really be able to tell which content converts people from walking by to looking to engaging. And then we have computer vision to detect if somebody picks up a product, know which product's in their hand, and then respond with media about that product. And we do that without having to tag the products with RFID or Bluetooth accelerometers, all computer vision. And the way I think about it is online, you click on a product to get more information. In store, you pick it up. So what we're really doing is instrumenting the clicks at retail so we can see which content changes the way you click, which planograms actually optimize the shopping experience, and to be able to create like a data-driven testing environment where brands and retailers both have insights to what happens at the very last mile of the conversion funnel, which is at the shelf.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that is a perfect switch into the industry prism for us to discuss, because I think it's easy to agree that when e-commerce struck, it also brought this democratized standard that was available to everybody. So if everybody exceeds and excels at e-commerce, you have to start going the extra mile in store in order to deliver that, super user experience that exceeds someone who just has an e-commerce. So I know that you and I spoke before this, that digital opportunities are shifting to retail media networks and the digitization of the physical store. You spoke of the latter, but if you could just say 2 sentences about the former.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty exciting time. I think you're right. Like, look, e-commerce has been the forefront of digital innovation for a long time, especially in retail. But there's only so much you can squeeze out of it, right? Like there's some interesting stuff happening around maybe social shopping and live video streaming and maybe TikTok shops, you could say. But you've squeezed most of it out of e-commerce. So like, where's the next great frontier? It's in store. That said, that's kind of from the shopping experience. From the economic perspective, retail media networks are groundbreaking for retailers, right? So, a lot of retailers like big box, grocery are operating at very low margin, between 2 and 5%. And these retail media networks, which are basically inserting ads into the shopping experience, digitally, mostly digitally and online, they're 80% margin businesses. So, it's a multi-billion-dollar business, first started by Amazon. They're $30 billion, and still growing at tremendous rates. But also, Walmart has built $1 billion business in like 2 years, right? Instacart, which is a wildly unprofitable business that was, basically unsustainable, all of a sudden is an advertising company, right? Not a delivery company. And so, it's really transformational what can be done. Dollar General, which you think of as a low margin discount, makes hundreds of millions of dollars on repackaging customer data in rural areas that, customers that most people can't reach. So super exciting, just from foundational differences in the margin economics. Just the stat that gets me is if you could increase your grocery revenues just by 4% with retail media networks, you double profits. So the opportunity to really double the value of some retailers, it's tremendous.
Especially when the consumer behavior hints into more saving, less disposable income kind of behavior. So definitely retailers have to perhaps not fight back, but respond. I think that would be a better word. So I also wanted to pick your brain on this. Since you are an expert of the in-store experience, would you agree that there is a lot of room for improvement, for imagination, that the store has been left as we know it largely for decades in the same state? So I'm wondering if you're just going to agree with me. If you're going to disagree, tell me why. But also what I'm looking for is, can you tell me what was the most amazing, heartwarming in-store experience that you can recall? Not necessarily by Raydiant, but I won't be surprised if it is done so.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the store hasn't changed, and I've been trying to sell technology in store for a long time, and it's like a Sisyphean task. It's pushing rocks uphill, and it's in part just because of when you talk about like digital in store, there's so many different groups that need to be involved. There's marketing, there's IT, there's merchandising, operations, and so it's just very difficult to get done. Whereas adding an ad to your search results on an e-commerce site is really easy to do. And I think there needs to be a transformation in terms of kind of the way these groups work together, the culture around data and technology for in-store, and we're starting to get there. But yeah, I mean, you look at like the news, right? Like Walmart is making multi-billion-dollar investment in stores. Okay, what are they investing in? Brighter paint, better lighting. Like it's like paint, lighting. I mean, those things work, right? But that's where we are right now. Now, truth be told, right? Like there's additional things that are happening. People are powering under the floorboards so that we can get power to the shelves. There are a lot of these kind of like physical obstacles that have prevented the evolution of store. And take Walmart as another example. They're also did a deal with SAS Magatak to bring in electronic shelf labels. So that type of stuff is coming. It's just so much more slow going than adopting technology, in an online native digital manner. And so then this goes to like, what's the great experience? For me, the greatest experiences have been those enabled by sales associates who really connect with you, because from a connection perspective, to a great deal of extent, the store hasn't connected with its shoppers outside of that. And you can look at some really interesting activations, flagship stores, and I can talk about some of the amazing things that that have been built, but very few of these have scaled. And so what I really look at is like, what is the technology that has scaled this experience? And I think we're still very early. I mean, I love a bunch of the stuff that we've done, from the Macy's Fragrance Bar. Or virtual try-on is a great example of some technologies that have scaled in beauty to allow you to try many different makeups and engage with a lot of different products that wouldn't have been possible. But for the large part, we're still waiting for that digital platform to enhance the physical store experience, as you mentioned.
All right. Seeing that we've got 4.5 minutes, I want to be extremely useful with our time. So, two topics. Number one, and let's try to allocate time equally. You mentioned something very important a second ago, that it is all about the people working within the organization. So we're looking at organizational dynamics, because we have to remember that even when we're looking at an AI, then we're looking at LLM, then we're looking at the entire process, there's data, and the data was most likely, at least initially, collected or designed to be collected further so by humans. So I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me something about the organizational DNA here that enables and encourages such movements.
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of technology platforms for for basically galvanizing your frontline teams. We have a employee engagement platform, for example, that gamifies sales, messaging, task management. There are a variety of different startups that have raised a lot of money. People like Ubic and Beekeeper and others. Um, Tulip Retail has been, there for a long time, where people with iPads can do merchandising, and you walk into Bonobos, they know who you are, and they can say, "Hey, we've got a new color in that pants that you've loved." So there's a lot of technologies being involved to galvanize the employees. I think ultimately there's like just this opportunity to kind of marry the shelf digital with the employee messaging, and to be able to automate some of that. And to your point, a lot of that's challenges around data collection, and there are new AI techniques. I talked to a company called SmarterX yesterday, where they're looking at all the different components of every different product, how to dispose of it, waste of it, donate it, reuse it, etc. And how they're using AI to basically do analysis of products and SKUs and all your product information management systems. Those are huge problems where AI is going to make it really easy to kind of square the circle between disparate data sources, identify conflicts, and create a master level of truth, so that you can have much better data to make decisions and even automate those.
Amazing. I actually was writing it down because you said Smarter X is the name of the company that you spoke to yesterday, right? Because they sounded like they do
Yep.
stuff revolving around circular economy. Seeing that we've got two panels around this today, I'll want an intro from you, but that comes later. My last question to you is, we wanted to talk about the future being digital. You mentioned electronic store labels, digital shelves that probably know you take off the product, it recognizes the weight that was removed, shows you a relevant ad. Autonomous stores. What's your take?
So autonomous stores, like it's great, but really too expensive, and a little bit still of a gimmick. Just like any technology, the price is going to go down on a regular basis. But I think there was a lot of excitement about it. Um, I think a store has to be more than being able to spend less time at checkout, right? Like like that's a component. If you have really long wait times and it's just a pain to check out, that's a friction you want to reduce. I get that. But the big question is, why am I in the store in the first place? Like, what is that shopper experience? And you've hit on a couple different technologies that I'm excited about, like shelf labels, where you can update pricing, you can look at discounts, and kind of guide me in the right place. Digital at the shelf, some of the digital signage things that we're doing, so we can actually allow brands to do the storytelling. You can find the right products based upon your need, and I think that starts kind of expanding out, like in a big way, when we can do this in a scalable kind of way where everybody has wearables, right? Like, if you're talking about 10 years from now, that's the type of thing where I'm really excited. And the cost of all these things are going down over time. So, I think the challenge for most retailers is like, what can you do now? There's a lot of focus on the store of the future and like, hey, we could do this in 10 years. That's great. But why aren't you implementing technology that can be implemented now for digital at the shelf? And I think, again, it goes back to that culture of, I want digital in the store, but I don't want it to be Times Square. How do we make it helpful with lift and learn technologies and computer vision that actually helps the shopper, improves the shopper experience, but also has the economic benefit of plugging into these next generation retail media networks, where brands pay for it with net new dollars on top of trade dollars, hooking into national advertising and the like, in a way that's so remarkably profitable. Carol Speakerman talks about the retailer as a platform. It's a media platform, it's a data platform, it's a customer platform. And if you can figure out how to scale those pieces while improving the shopper experience, then you've kind of hit the holy grail. And those dynamics all have to hit at once. And so that's what's going to drive the next generation of retail media networks powered by AI, data, and intelligence.
Trevor, thank you for that answer. I wish I had time to disagree because my opinion on autonomous stores is completely opposite. However, we are running out of time. So, Trevor, let's take this separately and discuss. Whilst, dear audience, thank you for coming to this panel. And thank you, Trevor.
Thank you.